Hello and welcome to a Wi-Fi battle. For the few people who subscribed to it, sorry I didn't upload last week, but I've been on holiday for the last couple of days, so it's nice to get back into some Wi-Fi battling. And today we have a battle against Oldschool here. Little disappointed that his team isn't all Gen 1, but there's my inner Gen Whiner coming out. So anyway, I thought he'd lead off with a Greninja, so I'll go into my choice scarf. There we go. English today would be lovely. Heracross, as he just decides to go for the switcheroo when I switch in my Lantern. So we're going to the Choice Specs Lantern now, which actually, I know it sounds strange to say this, but the Choice Specs on the Lantern wasn't too bad. Come look at that damage there, causes a half damage there with a nice critical hit, and that's after a light screen as well. So on me, he decides to set up the Reflect, and I go for the Scouts again. At the minute I'm just praying for the burn here. But of course that is not enough, and he's going to start recovering his leftovers. So here he decides to switch out into a Dragonite here, and after the light screen plus the resist, this Scald isn't going to hurt this thing anything at all. But luckily for me, I get the burn here, so thankfully this isn't the game sealed right there. Cause, you know, when a Dragonite does get his Dragon Dance up, it is nothing to be messing around with. So I go into my Cresselia here just to see exactly what this thing can do, and it does decide to go for the D-Dance. So this thing is going to start setting up rather nicely and becoming a threat, but thankfully for me, at least the burn is going to keep this thing so it's not going to be doing too much damage. So it goes for the Outrage, and considering I'm a very bulky defensive Cresselia, that's an awful lot of damage after a burn. So I go for the Psychic just to start, you know, chipping away at this thing, let's try to get some damage and more burn damage. So I decide, okay, he's locked in Outrage here, I'm going to keep going for that, but he's eventually going to die to burn and confusion, etc. So I'm going to go straight to the Moonlight here and keep recovering my HP, to keep it a decent rate of HP. So, you know, more lefties recovery, etc. I'm just playing a stall game here. I do run a lot of stalled teams, I've noticed, but I do like a lot of the bulkier Pokemon, design-wise and just, you know, competitive-wise. So it goes to Outrage again, causes a good chunk of damage, gets confused, but I'm going to go for the Psychic here. So now Psychic plus burn damage is going to finally finish off this Dragonite. So that is one huge threat on my opponent's team out of the way for good. Do not have to deal with this bloody green, that weird green Dragonite. So he goes into the Gengar here, and I'm like, okay, I am going to get Shadow Ball to the face here. So I switch in my Miss Squash just as a defensive ball, and I get, of course, Hypnosis. And I'm just thinking, well, that's typical. How come every time I try one of these Hypnosis moves, or Sleep Powder, or any move that doesn't have 100% accuracy, I always miss. So the Sludge Bomb here hits me. And now he goes for a Shadow Ball here, maybe predicting a switch, but either way, it's still going to do good damage. But luckily for me, I wake up, go for the Scald, I get the burn. So my new Lantern Miss Squash is putting in a lot more work. I am liking this set nearly as much as my Zoro set. Zoro set's a bit of a peculiar one. This is a very standard Lantern set you're going to see. But as I say, this set seems to be working rather nicely, so I can see why a lot of people use the standard one. So he goes for the Shadow Ball, absolutely destroys my poor Lantern here, which is a shame. I wish Lantern had some form of recovery. I can't really think of any besides rest on Lantern, but Lantern did a good job there. Those Choice Specs actually helped me rather than, you know, making sure it was useless. So I'm going to go into my Chinchilla here, finish this thing off with a U-turn. I probably could have went to stayed in, but I didn't really want to risk it. As I say, Rock Blast had a chance to miss, Bullet Seed was resisted, and Tail Slap obviously wasn't going to hurt this thing. So I got my Roserade, there we go, let's get this right. And so I get hit with an Ice Beam, and I have no idea to this day why I stayed in. Something in my head must have been just telling me I can survive an Ice Beam, but that was just stupid, plain and simple. So I go into my Dim here, and luckily he doesn't catch on his Choice Scarf as I go straight for the close combat to finish this thing off good, with that Ice giving it a load of weaknesses as it changes type. So down goes this Greninja, huge threat out the way. Now here's my opponent's star play here. This Charizard here is just Charizard Y is so freaking strong. I mean, as you're about to see here. So I know I'm in defensive Cresselia, but I do have special bulk as well. But you're about to see how much damage this thing does in the sun. So stab Flamethrower in the sun. It's basically adaptability Flamethrower on what I'm guessing to be a modest Charizard Y. And of course he gets the burn, so I can't offer any kind of recovery, and that's just my goal. That's just his goal, just destroying my Cresselia. It's like Golurk here, I'm trying to pronounce his name. I think it's a German name for Charizard, but I could be wrong, probably am wrong. So going to my Chinchino here as he just decided to withdraw his Charizard Y, as he does decide to go into his Klefki here, and I'm just going to go straight to the Rock Blast, doing very minimal damage here, just chipping away, chipping away at this Klefki, just trying to get as much damage as I possibly can. course doesn't do a thing. Chinchino is not a one to fight steel types. And I just withdraw here instead of going for U-turn because I was just fearing the Paralyze on my Chinchino. Chinchino doesn't like being paralysed with burn, so I go to Mega Man. Mega Man doesn't really care about being paralysed. He's not the fastest Pokemon anyway. So after some more lefties heal, this Klefki is looking to be rather annoying here. So I've particularly set up a light screen here, and I'm just going to go straight for Aura Sphere, which is probably one of my more powerful moves against this thing, especially with the sun being up, because Water Pulse wasn't going to do anything. So Aura Sphere was the best, probably the better move I could have done. So I hit this keyring up, still doesn't kill it as Eagle. As the sunlight fades, get the lefties, and I'm just going to keep going for the Aura Sphere here, just to finish off this Klefki for good. So down goes this annoying little Klefki. Thankfully it wasn't the Swag Player one. This person's somewhat sticking to Smogon rules, even though he's using Greninja. But the Greninja is a very highly popular Pokemon Wi-Fi battle, so you just have to expect it. So he goes for a Solar Beam here, and this thing hits me rather nicely, but it doesn't kill me, luckily, as I'm able to go straight for Dark Pulse. But with the screens up, it barely even dents this thing. And of course, he's going to finish me off with a Solar Beam. Charizard Y, such a good Pokemon, good coverage. Shiny form, it looks even nicer, the purple and red on the wings, looks really good. I think this thing's a bit overpowered, but as I say, I do have something to deal with it, which is my Chinchino, as you're about to see here. So Rock Blast, boom, boom, 2 hits, didn't even need Skill Link to kick in, and completely destroys his Charizard. Now, Kia is a funny player here. I've got a bit of a question for the audience. Do you think this Electivire was EV trained? Because, basically, as you're about to see here, I'm hitting this thing up with a tail slap, and I don't get the flinch hacks. So I get the hit 5 times, and it does hit me with a Brick Break. And I honestly thought I should have been dead here, but I live with just very little HP. So I go for the Bullet Seed. It's going to hurt this thing and finally finish off the match and win for me good. Maybe this thing was jolly, maybe it was the Assault Vest set, but I do feel like I should have died. Maybe I got a very low roll in the damage count, but sometimes that's just Pokemon figure. So thank you for watching today. I hope you consider liking, subscribing, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.